Hey guys, welcome back to LariTCG. Today we'll be discussing the ban list. Very, very exciting. Just came out today. I live in Australia, so came out at like 2 a.m, but went and played a locals and really wanted to just get this out and have a chat about the ban list. So got a few things to go through, so let's kick off. Before we get into the video, please like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and yeah, let's get into it. So a bunch of unlimited cards. We've got Glow Up Bulb, Masterpiece, Morphing Jar, Phantom Skyblaster, Snake Eye Ash, Snake Eye Poplar, Dragonic Diagram, Lightning Storm, and Zodiac Barrage. So what does that mean? So I think it's not that consequential. A lot of these cards have seen a gradual reintroduction back into the game, so hasn't been super impactful from a player perspective. Some of these cards were very strong in the past, but you know, in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, they're not going to be the same power level with power creep and everything. So the Snake Eye names back at 3 definitely is interesting. Bonfire is still at 1, and Original Sinful Spoils are still banned. So you know, it's the bridging bit and the consistency is still a little bit off, but there could be something there. The cards are interesting. Lightning Storm back at 3 is cool. Means you have more options in the side deck. You can play 3 Lightning Storm, 1 Harpies now. And then Glow Up Bulb back. So we all saw the ominous Glow Up Bulb that Konami posted. So we all thought it would come back, but it is nice to have back. It's cool in those really funny 60 card rogue mill decks. Yeah, so those are all the unlimits anyway, but as I said, I don't think it's going to be super consequential. Let's move on to the semi-limit. There's only one semi-limit today, it's Branded Fusion. Branded Fusion, I think it's not a huge difference overall to the power of the deck, but it adds a lot of consistency. So adding the extra copy at end phase could be really good. You don't have to use Retribution to get it back all the time. It's just more copies of its prime card, so it's just going to be really nice to have. But I don't think it pushes it over the edge to make it a crazy deck, but it's definitely something that is appreciated for sure. Ash on Branded Fusion will still feel bad. I think that it will always feel bad, but I think Branded enjoyers are really happy about this one. So those are the semi-limits, or semi-limit, not much else. Limits, this is a big section. I think there's a lot to go over, so I'll start from the top. We've got X-Ryzeal, we've got Malice, P Dormouse, Vanquish Soul Raisin, Fiendsmith's Lacrima, so that's the fusion. We've got Ling Kuribo, not Ling Kuribo, Link Kuribo, Summon Zork, we've got Herald of the Arclight, Zodiac Trident, Crystron Inclusion, Obedient School, Stake Your Soul, and Solemn Judgment. So what does that mean? A lot. So X-Ryzeal will obviously reduce the consistency of Ryzeal, and it will mean that you're going to draw it less going second into boards. So so X being a board breaker as well, being able to send Valon or Meteorologic Aggregator is definitely really strong. Being able to just see it less now will mean that Ryzeal has to try a bit harder to play into a board. So that's good. And then obviously X adds consistency to the deck as well. Yeah, losing the ability to add off it whilst also losing an extra copy of itself is going to be really tough. Next one is Dormouse. So this one is going to hurt a lot. This one's going to hurt Malice considerably. It's actually lost 4 starters in total, not 5, what it says here. But you know, it's lost now 2 Dormouse, it's lost 1 Rabbit, it's lost Underground. And you'll see in a moment there's going to be another addition to the ban list that is going to hurt this deck considerably. Its grind game is going to be really hard now. It's not going to have the versatility and the resilience that it had before. 1 Dormouse means that you're going to see it much less, and if you use it as part of your combo, you're going to have to find a way to recycle it to get it back. So really tough. Stake Your Soul and Raisin. These hits are awful for the deck. It's going to be really hard for the VSK9 deck now. You're not only losing fire attributes in Raisin, but you're losing 2 extra starters for the deck. And the deck was already having consistency problems as it was. So this will just serve to hamper the deck's viability moving forward, I think, for sure. Lacrima unban. People saw this one coming just because the rules changed. The Lacrima unban kind of makes sense. Link Rebo, this one is pretty relevant, I would say. Yummy gets a way to link into it, and then they can dodge certain effects by tributing as a quick effect. And then if your end board includes Link Rebo, then you're able to protect the Herald from battle, which is pretty relevant because Herald's at 1 now, so definitely good. If you want to play Snake Eye again, you've got Link Rebo back, so that's cool. Summon the Sork recently got errated by Konami, so we were kind of expecting it to be reprinted and returned back to the game. So that's good. Herald at 1, this future-proofs Yummy, I think, because post Doom of Dimensions, you can actually make multiple copies pretty easily with the new Marshmallow card. You can make multiple copies now already, but this just makes it so much easier, and it means that you can just make one on your turn all the time, and then again on your opponent's turn. It's a semi-floodgate, it's an Omni-negate, it's a very strong card. It going to 1 definitely makes sense here. Drident, I love Drident. Drancia, my beloved. I played this game for a very long time. I've topped with Zodiac. Zodiac has a very special place in my heart, so Drident coming back again is definitely, I'm very happy. Inclusion's a good hit actually, because K9 Crystron was no joke. It was one of the best decks actually. Its combo was very, very strong, and it put up a lot of really hard negates. So reducing the consistency of it is definitely a good way to broach the deck without it, you know, being unplayable, right? Obedience, that card's been out since 2014. It summons 3 dudes and it's not once per turn. So definitely would see this card going to 1 or banned, but 1 definitely makes sense here. So Yummy doesn't need it. Judgment, I can definitely see why they put this back to 1. Judgment's flip-flopped a lot. It's been banned, it's gone to 1, it's gone to 3, it's gone to 1. It's probably one of the better ones out of the Solemn set, just because it can interact with spells and traps and summons. Strike's obviously really good for monster effects and summons, but you know, having the versatility that Judgment has is definitely really potent, siding it in when you're going first, because it stops you from getting board breaked whilst also being able to interact with your opponent's summoning. So definitely understand why they put this back to 1. Half life points isn't super relevant if you're stopping your opponent's turn and then OTKing them directly after. So it, yeah, makes sense. All right, let's move on to the bans. We've got Moon of the Close Heaven, Splash Mage, King of the Feral Imps, and Paradise Smasher. Who would have thought? So what does that mean for the game? A lot, actually. We've got the Moon ban, which means that Fiendsmith can't be readily splashed, haha, into any deck to just do the combo. 2 bodies doesn't just make the Fiendsmith combo now. You're gonna have to bridge another way. If you're a rank 4 or rank 3 deck, you've got options in Light Fiends that you can just make and then bridge into Requiem, but it's gonna make it a lot harder for any old deck to just make a Fiendsmith board now with 2 bodies. You can't do it anymore. Splash Mage, this one is a really big hit. I'll say a few things about it. I think it's going to make it really hard for the deck to combo normally, and it's going to make it hard to play through Nibiru. I previously put out a video on the channel that outlined a bunch of combos where we were pretending that certain things were banned, just in preparation for this to happen. Splash Mage was one of the ones I didn't think they would ban, to be honest, but I wanted to test with it banned. It definitely makes it harder. You know, if you've used your names and your opponent Nibiru's you can't make Splash anymore. You can't turn the token into a Link Spider. You can't summon a name and then make Splash Mage and then make a 3. It's just not happening. So you're gonna have to have an extra card, or you're gonna have to be more reserved with using your names in the deck, and just be aware that you don't have a way to extend just like you did before. Underground is now not a full combo by itself. If you've got something else, of course, it's fine, but usually you would go Underground, Banish Mouse, Summon Rabbit, Rabbit set a trap, link into Splash, and then make your 3 that way, but you don't have Splash anymore. Because the names have used their effects, you can't use Haggard Lizardos. If you don't have an extender, you can't make Wicked, like it doesn't do anything there. So it's definitely a very impactful hit. So we'll see if the deck is going to be viable. I'm keen to put out some more Malice content and see if it's over for the ladies, but for now, we'll have to see. Feral Imps ban, this is another bridging card for Ryzeal. They were able to bridge into Mitsurugi. They now can't do that, so it means that that deck is gonna, the two engines are gonna exist separate from each other. Obviously you can draw them, like if you just hard open Habakiri, right? But it's not gonna be the same, as in you're not going to be able to bridge, do a full Ryzeal combo, cycle your cards, and then go into Mitsu. You need to already have a Mitsu card, so it's gonna make a big difference. Paradise, I call him Gambler. His neon claws will no longer enslave you. Rest in paradise with the other degenerate turn skips. Yes, I think we're all very happy that he is banned, and if you've ever been Paradise Smashed, you'll understand. It's not fun. It's not good card design. It's not fun interactive gameplay at all. So add it to the list of cards that have been removed from the game permanently, I hope. So those were the bans. A lot has changed. So let's move on. What are the winners from the ban list? I'll go through them quickly. So I think Yummy, despite having OS and Herald Limited, I think that with the new support from Doom of Dimensions, the deck is still going to be very strong. So keep your eye on Yummy for sure. K9 Engine, untouched, a great engine. The card quality is really strong. It pairs well with a lot of decks. Really good potential. Dragatail, popular, untouched, good matchup into Yummy. Its worst matchup is now nerfed heavily, so VSK9 is not going to be as strong or a deck anymore. And yeah, deck construction is pretty unique with Dragatail. You've got a lot of options to play in the deck. You've got different fusions you can play. You've got different sub-engines and supporting engines. So it'll be really interesting to see how Dragatail evolves next format. Lunalight, again, another untouched deck and very, very strong. Makes it towers. You can't interact with it. It blows your whole board up. The towers is massive. If you don't have an out for it, you're doomed. So definitely have a plan for it. Put some kaijus in. Put Daruma Karma Cannon, whatever you need. Like something to just clear it. Otherwise, it's just gonna give you a headache if you run into that one Lunalight player. Sky Striker. Ray and Joyce have gotten some good supports from Duad. We've got Zero, we've got Lemniscate. And Striker being a spell-based deck means that it's going to play any spell that it needs to adapt to the format. The deck can go first now more reliably because Zero adds a card directly from deck, and if you open Ray, you can just go directly into Zero. And then you've got a good line of interaction in your opponent's turn as well. So you can obviously play the board breaker variant and go second, but the deck can go first or second, and it can play a lot of different cards. So it gives it a good variety, I think. Memento, another untouched deck apart from Moon for the Fiendsmith variants. A deck that is very, very strong. It won a YCS, and it's definitely quite popular. I think we could see that deck coming back and doing some damage on the top tables. A good pilot for that deck is really scary, and a lot of its interactions are really hard to deal with, and it plays on your turn too, and it's very scary. Pure Mitsu, it's a pretty good mid-range deck. It's completely playable, and it was untouched. We didn't see a prayer limit or a Habakiri limit, so still free to play that. Blue Eyes, again, untouched, reasonable mid-range deck. Primite cards recently got reprinted in Battles of Legends, so more people can access those cards, and they're cheaper. And with some of the restrictions on the list, it means that some of the more high ceiling combo or really, really advantage heavy decks have been nerfed a bit, so Blue Eyes can kind of catch up a little bit. I'm not saying it's the best deck, but it's definitely better off now. So, all right, so the losers of the ban list. Biggest loser award goes to VSK9, unfortunately. Of course, we've got the Malice and the Mitsu Ryzeal hits, which are definitely considerable in their own contexts, but I think that the Vanquish Soul deck got a very heavy hand with this ban list. Losing Raisin to 1, losing Stake Your Soul to 1. Paradise Smasher doesn't really matter because, it's just more a card to make if you want to stun your opponent. But now the deck can barely play, I think, so it's going to be tough. Malice, obviously losing Dormouse to 1 and Splash Mage ban is going to be tough, but I still think the deck is functional. It's just going to be a lot less consistent and going to make those situations where you get hand trapped a lot more awkward. Mitsu Raziel, can't bridge. It's a bit less consistent now because you don't have the extra X in your deck. So it's definitely going to suffer a bit from that. Okay, so missed opportunities. This one is definitely more subjective, but I've got a bunch of cards here that, you know, I went over the ban list and looked at the cards that are still currently legal and being played in decks at the moment, and I thought, hey, why haven't these been addressed? Or why haven't they thought to bring some of these back? Or, you know, I wonder why they're keeping this around. I will say that these cards listed here aren't all my opinions or anything. They're just more discussions I've had with my friends, with locals, and just cards that I've observed sort of either dodge ban lists or have seen sit on the list too long, like you'll see in some of these unbans. Shout out to my friend Lincoln. We had a really good discussion about some of these cards today. We've been playing the game for a long time, so some of these unbans that you'll see, they've been sitting there rotting on the ban list for way too long. So it'd be interesting to see if they do bring them back in the future. But as you can see here, we've got Invoker, Wind Up Carriers and Mighty, Nightmare Goblin, Meow Meow Mew, Prank Kids, Heavy Storm, Mirage of Nightmare, Master Plan. Invoker and Carrier, I think they could come back. I'm not too sure why they're still on there, to be honest. I know that Carrier does enable a hand loop with Hunter, but, you know, I don't even know if that's functional in 2025. We'll have to see. Goblin got banned a while ago, and it was part of a degenerate combo, so I understand, but, you know, I'm not sure if it would do anything these days. Meow Meow Mew, you know, was definitely very strong in the Prank Kids deck, but Power Creep might actually have just made this card fine, to be honest. Heavy Storm, I thought might have come back. I was a little surprised it didn't, but I can understand. I think it'll come back one day. Mirage of Nightmare got reprinted in the tin, so I thought for sure it would come back, but I guess not. It's definitely got a strong effect, but in the context of modern Yu-Gi-Oh, it's not as nearly as strong as it was before. So Master Plan, I say this every list that Master Plan doesn't come off. I'm like, why is Master Plan still on the list? I love Spiral, but you know, this deck is nowhere near as strong as it was. It would not be able to keep up if you bought Master Plan back. Good card, but not broken by any means in 2025. Some bans. These are some cards that me and some locals or friends thought maybe could have been banned but didn't, and just sort of questioned if they would in the future. Protoss, a degenerate card, of course. There might be less play for this card overall now that Raziel is hit, but I think that it's definitely a very strong card still, and the decks that can play it will play it. So if you get Protoss, it's still going to feel bad. White Binder, they banned Splash Mage, so I kind of see why they didn't go down this path, but they could have. The Saki 3, I call it the Saki 3 anyway. Talents called by Crossout. These cards feel really bad to have activated against you. You feel great using them for sure, but you know, having your hand looked at, a card ripped, your Ash called by or Fualos called by, having your Ash cross-outed, whatever, something cross-outed in the mirror, it just feels really bad, especially now that they're at 1. They're obviously very strong at 3, but 1 just feels like you can't really play around it because they're at 1. So when they are activated, it just, oh. I mean, Talents is always a card that we think about to play around, but if they've got it, sometimes you have to Ash their thing, right? Like, sometimes you have to Veiler their thing. And if they've got the Talents, it just feels awful. Shifter is another one, really, really nasty card. I know it went to 1 last list, and everyone was cheering. I don't know. Shifter's a weird one. I think it could be at 1 or it could be banned. Like, it's fine. Either way, I think 1 definitely feels a lot worse because if they shift to you want to cry. But if it was banned, it would just not exist, right? So it definitely strikes me as a sort of card where it probably should be banned just because it's so polarizing, but you know, it is what it is. Limits, Prayers, Baldrake, and a Lunar Light card. Prayers, it's fine. I think them banning feral imps is fine. You know, if they determined that Mitsu was fine by itself, then that's okay. That's fine, didn't need to be hit. Ball drag, I didn't think it needed to be limited, but I thought maybe they would, just because they've done it in other formats and the other bestials are at 1, so who knows. Lunar Light card, this one I wasn't sure if they needed to do, but I wouldn't have been surprised if they did. I'm not sure which one you could consistency hit, maybe Perfume or something, but I know they brought back Tiger, and you know, maybe they don't want to go back on what they've done with Lunar Light, so maybe they've just left it alone, but you know, they could have, but they didn't, and that's fine. Semi-limits, Charmies, just more as a conversation piece. If they got semi-limited, I might not have been surprised, but you know, people were talking about semi-limiting the Charmies to reduce the amount of times you draw them, but I mean, they've decided not to, so it is what it is. Brilliant Fusion for the Gem Knight deck. Maybe I thought they would bring it back to 2 to support it a bit, because they've just given it some more support, but maybe it's a bit too strong. Infinity Launcher, another old card that I think probably wouldn't do anything if they started to bring it back, but it could enable some crazy FTK, so who knows. Unlimits, Change of Heart, Snatch Steal, just the take spells these days aren't as strong as they were. So if they started to creep them back to 2 or 3, it really wouldn't matter. I think people aren't really playing them anyway, so it kind of makes sense. The Pearly spells and Fountain. Pearly spells, it kind of are a bit confusing as to why they're still at 2, but you know, it is what it is. I think they can come back to 3. I don't think Pearly's going to be crazy with them. It just adds a little bit more consistency to Pearly. And Fountain. Runic will have a tougher time with the new time and match procedures, so I think that Fountain could probably come back, because you know, people aren't going to want to play Runic when they could get a double loss if they sit there for 50 minutes playing a game. So yeah, so those are some of the missed opportunities, I guess. I don't think they all needed to come back, but it's worth a discussion. A bit of a bonus slide. So I've got a few decks here that I think actually might be happy with some of the adjustments on the list. First one is Rise Your Fiendsmith. I think that deck kind of dropped off a little bit just because Mitsu Raziel was a lot better, and some of the interactions were a bit unfavorable for the deck at the time. You know, people were playing more Bestials, and it was just, you know, you made your deck lose to more cards because you had that Fiendsmith engine. It can still bridge really reliably with Exiton, and now that Mitsu Raziel's been nerfed, it could see a resurgence, honestly. It's a pretty strong deck. It's less consistent for sure, but it can still bridge, and as we know, one Raziel name is full combo because it adds another thing, which adds another thing, which makes a duo drive, which adds 2, and yeah, so yeah, we could see that come back. Orcust, I think Lancia will start coming out of people's sides if Malice is perceived to be a weaker deck. They might want the space back, so they might take it out. They might keep it in, but you know, we could see it come out. Tri-Brigade Zoo, we've got Trident back, we've got Barrage at 3. Tri-Brigade support is coming, recently got revealed, looks really cool. So, you know, you could see that deck actually come back. I'm not sure how well it would do in 2025, but it's pretty cool that, you know, some of these old archetypes are getting some support. And the last one's Ritual Beast. I have a bit of experience playing Ritual Beast. I've won a regional with it before and have practiced for many, many hours doing the combos. All lines lead to Protoss a lot of the time, so the fact that Protoss is still legal means that you can still go for Protoss. The deck can reliably call a bunch of attributes, including light. So, you know, if you're going into a Yummy deck or a Fiendsmith pile, you can definitely call light. And yeah, if people are taking Lancia and stuff out of their deck, there's less silver bullets for Ritual Beast. The one thing I will say though is that the deck does take ages to do its combo. It's a shopping list of ads and steps, as my friend likes to say. So it might not be the best to play with the new rules, with the time and the match rules. I'll give it a go, but I don't know if I'm able to complete a match in a reasonable period of time. Yeah, will remain to be seen. Thank you so much for watching the video. Please like and subscribe if you did enjoy this. If you've got any comments, any suggestions, anything that you wanted to discuss with any point in the video, please leave a comment. I'll respond to any comments that are left on the video. And yeah, really excited for the new format, and the ban list I think is overall really good. If I had to rate it, probably a 7 or an 8 out of 10. Definitely a very good one, well thought out. But yeah, thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one.